Oh, yeah, never mind, we can see. So, good morning. We are in the end of chapter 8. It's the third class about this chapter because, like I said, it's a very important one, starting to speaking about the monarchy in Israel, Melucha. We answered most of the questions, or at least offered some answers to the question in the chapter. We only left with one, which is the last part of the chapter. So the story tells us that Shmuel wanted to warn Am Israel what would be the behavior of the king. So king has unlimited powers, almost. Of course, in Israel, he must obey to the law of the Torah and other limits that there are in the parasha of the king in Sefer Dvarim, in Parashat Shoftim. But generally, he has almost unlimited powers. And there is, now Shmuel warns them, he is going to use these powers to his benefits against you. And there is a list of things that he is going to do. The big question here, which is a machloket from the time of the Mishnah yet, if those things that are written here, it's something that is allowed to the king to do, or something that it's not allowed, but still, once he has the power, he's going to do them. Right? It's not very clear. There are two opinions. So when it says here, for example, he will take your sons to do that and that and that, is it allowed to the king to take the sons as he wish? Or it's something that it's not allowed, but it's still going to do that? That's a question that it's not very clear here. Well, I'm not going to answer because, as I said before, there is a machloket. Machloket in the Mishnah, if the things that are written in this parasha are permissible or not allowed, but still gonna happen. So anyway, let's see them again. We read that once. He said, this will be the practice of the king. It's translated here as practice. In Hebrew, it says mishpat hamelech. We can understand mishpat as the law of the king. So according to that, it means what he is allowed to do, or mishpat hamelech, meaning the way he's going to behave, even though it's not what is allowed. So this is going to be the practice of the king who will rule over you. He will take your sons and appoint them as his charioteers. Charioteers, how do you read this word? Charioteers. So what is charioteers? Charioteers and horsemen, and they will serve as outrunners for his chariot. So they used to take people to run in front of the king, in front of the chariot of the king, which is like a sign of honor, of respect to the king. It's an important person. Important person is always surrounded by many people. He's not going alone. He's going with all these people. Do you think it's something that the king should do or shouldn't? We can say that it looks like arrogance or unnecessary fancy behavior, or it should be something, it's not the personal respect of the king, it's the respect of the kingdom. If the kingdom has people, so it is powerful, so it is something that you should be respect, right? You won't put the king in a small house, I don't know, in a neighborhood that of poor, right? He's going to live in a palace. It doesn't need 100 rooms, but the palace is the honor not of the king, but of the kingdom, of the country.
The runners may also be for safety purposes, to protect the king in
Yeah.
case of an attack.
That may be, but then they don't have to run in front of the chariots. I think they should be around him. So it may be protection, but it looks here like he's going to use them to his honor. You know, there was a prime minister in Uruguay. I don't remember his name. He used to be a soldier, and then he became prime minister. Mujica, I think Mujica. And he is very, very humble person. So he donated all his salary, and he has this, this little German cars. We call it in Hebrew chipushit. The small cars of Volkswagen. What? Bitter, yeah. So he had Bitter from the 60s when he was prime minister in the 2000s. He was very, very the left wing, very, very socialist, but he really lived that. He lived this Jose Mojica, yeah. So he really lives that. So yeah, it's very admirable, right? To when he doesn't chase the fancy
Actually, he
cars.
died now.
What?
In May 13.
Ah, really? He died? I didn't know.
Actually now.
Ah, a week ago.
13, in Montevideo.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
Jose Mojica. Yeah, so it was a sign of modesty. That's like I said, admirable. Maybe today better, but in the past, the honor of the king was the honor of the kingdom, of the power of the country. So a strong king can have a lot of people around him, a lot of chariots, a lot of horses. A weak king wouldn't have that. So he's taking this. The question is if it's something that it's good or bad, but that is what he's going to do. And then he says, in this verse, it's not very clear. He said, he will appoint them as chiefs of thousands and of fifties. Is it a bad thing? You're going to see that all the list is list of bad things that he's going to do to you. He's going to take your children and use them. He's going to take your daughters and use them for his benefit. Making them chiefs of thousands and of fifties, it's a bad thing or it's a good thing? We can say it's a bad thing if it's done by force. Right? A person wants just to have his farm, to live with his sheep, with his lambs calmly, and then the king takes him and make him a soldier or chief of thousands, chief of fifties. So it may be a bad thing. But some explain what it says here, not only for himself, he's going to take your sons to work also for his ministers, for his people. So he's going to have people around him, and he's going to take your sons to work for these people. Or they will have to plow his fields. So when we say plow his fields, we can say plow his fields and their fields, the fields of the chiefs of the thousands and of the fifties. Reap his harvest and make his weapons and equipment for his chariots. So that he will take your sons to work for him. He will take your daughters as perfumers, cooks, and bakers. He will seize your choice fields, vineyards, and olive groves, and give them to his coteries. So what does it mean that he will take fields? Steal them or taxes? He will take taxes from you.
The way of legally speaking.
Yeah, it's a tax, as it says, tax is a theft. There is a motto that, but it's not a theft because again, what are the benefits that the king give you, should give you, or the kingdom or the country should give you? Security, it gives you, I don't know, education, health system, whatever a kingdom, I don't know what the kingdom in the past gave, not a lot, but they should give you something. In return, they need to finance everything. So he is allowed to take things for himself because he needs, but he will do that. He will take the best fields, the choice fields, right? Vineyards and olive groves. He will take not only for the needs of the kingdom, but also for his benefits, his own personal interest. So we can see that all these things are like gray. It's not very clear. It's black or white. It's good or bad. He needs that, but then he can abuse his power. Okay, let's continue seeing, and then we'll say words about that. So he will take a tenth part of your grain. We wish tenth part, right? Today it's how much is it? 40%, the taxes here. So we will take a tenth part of your grain and vintage and give it to his eunuch. What is it? Eunuchs, eunuchs and coteries, people that work for him. His court. He will take it to his court, right? He will take your male and female slaves, your choice young men, and your asses, meaning donkeys, and put them to work for him. Today we could have explained that in another way. No, but it means the donkeys and the things that you have, and put them to work for him. He will take a tenth part of your flocks, and you should become his slaves. So these are all the things that he's going to do. And then it says, the day will come when you cry out because of the king whom you yourselves have chosen. And the Lord will not answer you on the day. Yeah, okay, so it sounds familiar, right? You are choosing someone, and after that you are cry because of that. that can happen.
We have a saying, be careful what you ask for because you might get it.
Yeah, So that was exactly what's happened. So that is warning them. He's going to abuse you. He's going to take your money, your kids, your daughters, your fields, everything from you. And then you will cry. Do you want that? Yes, we want. But the people would not listen to Shmuel warning. No, they said, we must have a king over us, that we may be like all the other nations. Let our king rule over us and go out at our head and fight our battles. When Shmuel heard all that the people said, he reported it to the Lord. And the Lord said to Shmuel, heed their demands and appoint a king for them. Shmuel then said to the men of Israel, all of you go home. Okay, so we will speak about these last verses. Just another few words about the rule of the king, like I said before. So, well, I repeat again, we say there are two opinions. Some say it's not allowed to do all that stuff, but he's still going to do that. The others say it is allowed to do all of that. What I think we can like find the middle in between these two opinions. It is allowed, but it's expected to use his power wisely. And most of the king won't. That's the main problem. Kingdom or king can be the best solution or the worst. Depends how the king behaves. Right? He has unlimited power, so he can make reforms, he can make changes. Nothing gonna limit his power. So he can use his power to make the kingdom the most wonderful things in the world, or he can use it to his own benefits. And this is the problem. Once you have a king, when you have a law, he is allowed to do all this stuff, right? Because he has unlimited power apart from certain things. But who can guarantee that this power won't go to his head and make him crazy? And make him like, all these crazy kings that used to do crazy stuff, like eating their babies, or I don't know. There are many, many stories about kings that the unlimited power made them crazy. So what I think here, what the warning of Shmuel is, you are giving, it may look nice now. It may look something that will resolve the problems that you have with this nation, with the Plishtim, or with Nachash Melech Ammon, or whatever, but for the long term, you are going to cry. That we say one day, maybe not today, maybe not in 10 years, maybe not in this generation, but one day, choosing someone with unlimited powers that can do all that stuff, going to make you cry. It's not necessarily in the first generation, even though he's going to take fields and kids, etc., to do his stuff, you will be happy in the first generation. When you won't be happy? When this power would be abused in some future in a way that it would be now against your interest. But Am Israel still say, that's what we want, that's what we need. And we know that they were right in some way. So, yeah, there were bad kings, but what are we praying every day? We are praying every day to the return of the king from the family of David. Right? It's Tzemach David Avdecha Me'erat Tatzmiach. So we are looking for a king. We want a king that will go in the ways of the Torah, a king that will be guided by prophets, again, a king that will behave like David, the Melech HaMashiach. We want the Mashiach, we call Melech HaMashiach, the king that is anointed as a king. Right? That's what we are looking for. But this is a very dangerous way when it's not used in the right way. And that's what's going to happen until the end of the day. We're going to have the perfect kingdom. That's another story. But before that, that's what Shmuel says to them. It's premature because today it's very hard to manage kingdom, unlimited power without abusing this power. So the story ends by Hashem saying to Shmuel, you should do what they want, but in your own way, like we are going to see in the next chapter. That's why Shmuel told them, okay, I will do, but go home. What does it mean, go home? Let's make a king. You say you're going to make a king. No, I will make a king in my way, right? Under the guidance of Hashem. And that's what leads us to the next chapter, which is very surprising. Suddenly, today, we know the end of the story, which take a little bit of the surprise because we know what's going to happen. But if you read the story of the next chapter, it's look very surprising. Suddenly, we are starting to speak about some guy called Shaul that doing stuff, and it's not, where is the king? We're talking about the king. And we see that this is look like a questionable way to choose a king, and the king that was chosen also, it's like there are some questions about him. Let's see the story in chapter 9. There was a man of Binyamin, whose name was Kish, son of Aviel, son of Tzeror, son of Bechorat, son of Afiach, a Binyamin, we already say that, a man of substance. So, Ben Ish Yemini, there is like emphasis about the fact that he was from Binyamin. Why? We can say two reasons, two of them related to each other. It's not what we would expected, for two reasons. First of all, Binyamin is the youngest son of Yaakov. Like we're going to see later in the story, he says, why would you choose me if I'm from Binyamin, the youngest of the tribes of Israel? We would expect Reuven, we would expect Yehuda, that always was a leader, that after that is going to be David, is from the tribe of Yehuda. But suddenly we have Binyamin, who is the youngest and never was mentioned as someone who's going to be a king. Nobody would expect that. The second problem, maybe another candidate would be Ephraim. Ephraim is the son of Yosef. Yosef was a leader. Ephraim was the one who received the bracha, the blessing of Yaakov as in the right hand. So these are like the natural candidates: Yehuda, Reuven, or Ephraim. Right? Yoshua bin Nun was from Ephraim. And suddenly we have Binyamin. The second, not problem, but question about Binyamin, if we remember the end of Sefer Shoftim, this tribe was almost eliminated. Nobody stayed, left, almost nobody left from the tribe. So it's another reason to assume that the story of Pilegesh Bagivah in the end of Sefer Shoftim was very early in the time of the Shoftim. We talked about that in the end of Sefer Shoftim. But we still would expect this Binyamin, the tribe of the criminals of Giv'ah, the tribes of the rapists, the tribes that were almost eliminated, it wouldn't be the tribe that I would choose. Everybody was against them. Binyamin was against all the rest of Am Israel. But still it was Binyamin, the tribe. Okay, we still don't know that it's about kingdom. We just read that there was a man called Kish, and we see his family, but we do say that he is a man of substance, Gibor Chayil in Hebrew, meaning like hero, someone strong, someone powerful, and many times it's also about someone who is righteous. It's a title to someone who is righteous and strong, Gibor Chayil. He had a son whose name was Shaul, an excellent young man. No one among the Israelites, how do you read this word? Bnei Israel. Israelites was handsomer than he. What is a contest of beauty? It's going to be he was the most handsome man in Israel. He was a head taller than any of the people. So you see that tall people were considered handsome also in this time. He was taller than anybody and handsomer than anybody. So it's a good start. Good description. He's a young, good guy. He's from a good family, but not the normal candidate to be a king in Israel. Now the story wants the asses of Shaul. Asses is donkeys, right? Yeah. But atonot is female donkey in Hebrew. I don't know if there is a word in English for that. It's donkeys that are female. So he had asses that were lost. Of Shaul's father Kish went astray, meaning were lost, right? And Kish said to his son Shaul, take along one of the servants and go out and look for the donkeys. So he passed into the hill country of Ephraim. He was from Binyamin. Binyamin is a little bit south of Ephraim. So he went to the north, to Ephraim. He crossed the districts of Shalisha, but they did not find them. They passed through the district of Sha'alim, but they were not there. They traversed the entire territory of Binyamin, and they still did not find them. So they did a very long round in the middle of the country, in the mountain part of the land of Israel, in the middle of the country. When they reached to the district of Tzuf, so this is, it's saying in one verse, it should take them a few days. It's not something that you're doing so fast. So when they reached the district of Tzuf, Shaul said to the servant who was with him, let us turn back, or my father will stop worrying about the asses and begin to worry about us. But he replied, there is a man of God in that town, and the man is highly esteemed. Everything that he says comes true. Who is this? Shmuel, of course. This is Shmuel that we say that he was a prophet. Everybody that he says come true. Let us go there. Perhaps he will tell us about the errand in which we set out. What? You are going to the prophet to ask him about your donkeys. It's a little bit strange, but apparently it was very common. The Navi in this time was like a consultor, an advisor, and a rabbi and everything. People used to go to ask everything, the prophet. The prophet helped them. Like we say, everything that he says come true. But if we go, Shaul said to his servant, what can we bring the man? For the food in our bags is all gone, and there is nothing we can bring to the man of God as a present. What have we got? So apparently that was a parnasa of the Navi. Everybody that asked him gave him something. So the servant answered Shaul again, I happen to have a quarter shekel of silver. Shekel is not a coin in this time, it's a weight.
Wait.
A weight. So I have quarter shekel, like lishkol in Hebrew is to weight. Shekel of silver, I can give that to the man of God, and he will tell us about our errand.
Piece of silver.
Yeah. So formerly in Israel, when a man went to inquire of God, he would say, come, let us go to the seer. For the prophet of today was formerly called a seer. Okay, I will stop for a second just to say something important. So we already know the end of the story. In the end of the story, Shaul is going to be the king. So all this story look like unnecessary. What do I care about them going to look for the donkey? That he didn't have the money, the guy has the money. There are some hints, should be something, but I mean, the story could have started, Shmuel met Shaul and told him, Hashem chose you as the king. It could have started like that. All this story look unnecessary. But it is interesting for two reasons. First of all, it looks like everything is random. They happen to lose the donkeys. They happen not to find them. They happen to have a quarter of shekels. They happen to be near the city of the prophet when they decided to go back, or when Shaul wanted to go. Everything was random. When everything is random, you know Hashem is doing that, right? It's not something planned. So everything comes from Hashem. That's what we see. Hashem chose the person. He made all the circumstances. Another point is why Hashem chose him. So Shaul was a very young and nice young guy, but wouldn't expect him to be the king. We see he's not very determined. He's losing. I mean, when the servant looking for solutions and find solutions, he wanted to give up, even though he was investing that in many things. But if we remember, what are the conditions or the laws related to kings in the Torah? The Torah tells you Hashem would choose you. You should take someone that Hashem will choose. So that's we're going to see that's going to happen. But then the king, he cannot have many horses. The horse again was a sign of power, but many times of arrogant, of I'm stronger. So what he's looking for? Donkeys, not horses, right? A king cannot have a lot of gold. So we can see that Shaul didn't even have silver, quarter of silver, only the young guy there. So his servant has more money than him. Also, I would say very rich people are not going to look for days after donkeys. Okay, the donkeys went away. We have another 1,000 horses. No, it was a very modest family that didn't have a lot of money and looks like they're not chasing a lot of money. The Shaul just go away from home without any money, without anything. He doesn't care about the money. So this is the next thing. We are going to see the other conditions that he shouldn't, meaning his heart shouldn't be arrogant more than his brothers, more than the other people. We're going to see in the next part of the story how modest and humble was Shaul. And another point that it's important about the king, it says he cannot have many wives. We are going to see in the story now. Yeah, Shlomo, when we arrive to Shlomo, we'll talk about it. Of course, it was a problem. What he did. The Tanakh criticized him, but the question why he did that, what he thought. He knew the Torah, and he was righteous person. What? Yeah, but still, how he did against the Torah. It's a big question about Shlomo. But we're going to see, first of all, it looks like this young guy is a single, right? He went for a few days. It's in the orders of his father. He's not one who's born in a family. But we're going to see later about that. Okay, so this is what we're trying to say, that we can see from all this story that Shaul was the right person to be the king. If you're looking in the essence of a king, what a king in Israel should be. A person that's not chasing money and not chasing horses and not chasing power, is one who is modest, humble person that wants to serve God, that is obeying to his father, right? Is looking for the better. So, okay, so they are arriving to this place, and the kid is suggesting, let's go see the prophet to ask him. So there is a word like that, seer. What is the word that, come, let us go to the seer? Do you know this word, seer? It says seer, but it means seer, the one who see.
Oh,
There is a word like that in English? No.
an overseer.
Overseer?
Whatever.
Visionary.
Someone who watches over.
A person who can see the future, or see the hidden things.
This year would fit that. Yeah.
Seer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting comment. It says, before, meaning in the time of writing the book, it was already called prophet. And say in these times, it used to be called the seer, meaning the book was written in other times. But we are talking here about quite close to the end of the life of Shmuel, and Shmuel wrote his book, so how many years have passed? Some say that this verse was written later. Abarbanel says that some later prophet added this verse, Yirmiyah Navi or someone. Anyway, so he said, let's go speak with the seer, because Navi is the one who speak, Niv Sfatayim. Seer is the one who see. The combination of them both is a prophet, right? Is the see, and then he talk to the people. Okay. Saul said to his servant, a good idea, let us go. And they went to the town where the man of God lived. As they were climbing the ascent of the town, they met some girls. So we talked also about women. What is the meaning of women in the life of a king? How many women he can have? So they met some girls coming out to draw water, and then ask them, is the seer in town? In Hebrew, 3 words, Ayesh, Bazeh, Aroeh. So the prophet is on town? Yes, they replied. He is up there ahead of you. Hurry, for he has just come to the town, because the people have a sacrifice at the shrine today. As soon as you enter the town, you will find him before he goes up to the shrine to eat. The people will not eat until he comes, for he must first bless the sacrifice, and only then will the guests eat. Go up at once, for you will find him right away. It's a very, very detailed answer, elaborated answer, and many, many unnecessary details. What is all of that? It should have been like that. Is the seer in the town? Yes. That would be all, right? What is all that? Why they're answering so much? The Gemara asks this question, and the Gemara gives 3 answers. I think I told you that once, no? Anyway, maybe it was one of the drashot, not in the class. Okay. The Gemara says there are 3 possible reasons why they answering this long answer. The first answer, that the verse that we saw before, he was very handsome. He was very handsome, so they wanted to look on him. So they prolong the answer as much as they can in order to keep watching him, keep looking him. So it's a natural thing, right? But what we can see, that he wasn't interested. They were looking on him, trying to flirt with him, trying to speak with him as long as they can. He just asking, is it the town in town? Yes, okay, I'm going. So we can see the other character that we said about the king, that is also Shaul also have this character. So this is the first answer about because of his beauty. The second answer of the Gemara, I don't remember the order, but another answer of the Gemara is a little bit offensive because women speak a lot. That's what the Gemara says. That's what the Gemara says. Women speak a lot.
Sorry.
That's right. It's going to the internet. You're not allowed to say that.
Stereotype.
Today.
Yeah, but yeah, that's old ideas. Yeah.
And the third answer of the Gemara, is because the time of Shaul to be a king hasn't arrived yet. It should be delayed in a few seconds, because אין מלכות נוגעת בחברתה, אפילו כמלוא הנימה. Meaning, a kingdom cannot touch the other kingdom, meaning when the leadership should be changed, you cannot have two leaders in the same time. There is a time of Shmuel, there is a time of Shaul, they cannot overlap. And the time of Shmuel to end his leadership hasn't arrived yet. We needed this 10, 15 seconds more until it would happen. So that's what the Gemara say. Three answers, three of them sound a little bit strange. First of all, why would the Tanakh read? Again, they could say, and Shaul and his servant went to the city. I mean, maybe many things happen in the way. Maybe they saw, I don't know, a lion in the way. Maybe they were mistaken in the path and go in this to the other town. And after that, many things may have happened in the way that the Tanakh doesn't write. The Tanakh writes about this conversation because it has a message, because it's important. Okay, we could just skip this part. So apparently these three answers of the Gemara should mean something. The Tanakh wants to teach us that women speak a lot, that they wanted to watch his beauty, that the time of Shmuel didn't arrive yet to finish. So all of that are important messages. The Gemara wouldn't have written that if it's not important. And more than that, the Gemara says that's what the Bible wants to tell you. And now the question is, what is the meaning of that? About all the details, we understand there was a special party today, a special occasion, I don't know, special meal, there was a sacrifice in the city. Okay, but I mean, a part of the details of what they say, all this situation is something that should be explained. And there is explanation of Rav Kook to that, which I want to say now, even though, again, there may be other explanation. But I think this one is a nice one that gives us an idea. Rav Kook says, for historical events to happen, there may be three levels of reasons. One of them, we can say the direct reason, the direct natural reason. The second of them is maybe the human nature, right? And the third one of them is the will of God. Okay, so all these levels may happen, but they are related to each other. I will give you an example. The destruction of the Second Temple in the time of the Romans. Why did it happen? We can say the natural reason. The army of the Romans was much stronger than the army of the Jews, and they lost the battle. They lost the war. This is a natural reason. So the Rome were a very strong empire. Am Israel wasn't so strong. So this is like the natural reason. But there is also more than that. Am Israel were fighting among each other. If you read the descriptions of Josephus Flavius, even though we don't trust him a lot because he was a traitor, but usually we treat the way he describes the destruction of the temple as quite accurate. We have similar description in our writings, in the Talmud, etc. And it says, it's describing horrible situation when the Romans are around the walls, and inside the walls, there are different groups of Jews fighting each other, killing each other, and burning the food for each other, and doing so. We can say that the human choice here also caused the destruction. But then if you look a little bit deeper, you can see that that this sinat chinam, that hatred between people, made Hashem wanted to punish us. So the destruction of the temple was a punishment of our behavior, meaning Hashem could have done that the few will win will defeat the many, like he did in Hanukkah with the Greeks, right? So there are other solutions or other results for this war that were possible, but Hashem wanted that to happen. So the divine will is under the surface of everything that happened. So these are the three things, right? First of all, like the nature of the world, we won't speak a lot. Second, no, but there is a hidden meaning here. They wanted to watch him. And then it's also behind all of that, we have the will of God. Hashem wanted Shmuel to be the leader a little bit longer. So we have all these three levels. So that what the Gemara wants to tell you, that anything that happened may have many, many reasons or many levels of reasons. But the underlying reason for everything in the end of the story is the will of Hashem. Hashem is the one who is managing all this stuff, especially things that are related to the public, to the collective, to Am Yisrael, to the Klal Yisrael. This is something that is managed or arranged, prearranged by God, and it's not a random case. It's not randomly that they met these women and without a meaning. Everything that's happened is under the decision of God. That this is the way that things should happen. So this is about this interesting conversation, and it's still showing us this character, special character of Shmuel, the modesty, the self-control, and all the things that we mentioned. And I will finish with that verse. So they went up to the town, and as they were entering the town, immediately in the entrance, randomly, who is there? Shmuel. Shmuel came out towards them, and his way up to the shrine. Shrine is a high place where they are like where there is like
Trying to be anywheres, but.
it says Bama. Bama, it's like a place where the important people are sitting and having the meal, and
It's a place of honor.
yeah, place of honor, right? So Shmuel was in his way, they were in the way, and the meeting Shmuel, the first meeting between Shmuel and Shaul, B'ezrat Hashem, we are going to see next time. Thank you.